Hi, this video is about how to build your first WordPress website. My name is Luke, and I'll take you hand in hand all the way from choosing the right platform for your website, to hosting your website, to actually building your WordPress website today. So why WordPress? I've been using WordPress professionally for over 13 years. I've grown with it, and I'm not alone. Today, WordPress powers a whopping 43% of the entire internet. It was and still is the best choice for me for a number of reasons. The main one being that WordPress.org is an open source platform. That means that you own your content. If you want to change hosting, for example, you can easily move your website and your content. For this video, I'll be using Elementor hosting for WordPress. I find it to be the fastest and safest way to get going with building your first WordPress website. I'll talk more about it when I go on to our next topic, hosting. So what is hosting? In short, it's like renting a space in a building for your website's media and files on the internet. In some hosting companies, you'll need to manually install WordPress and an SSL, which adds a layer of security, and these may come at an additional cost. Designing your website. Every WordPress website requires a theme. A theme controls the look and feel of your WordPress website. There are thousands of free and paid themes available to download via the WordPress repository. Customizing a theme isn't an easy job, and this is why there are page builders, which give you more design control and freedom when building your websites. Page builders like Elementor Pro, for example, have a drag and drop function, making it much easier to work on building your website and without using code. Luckily, we're using Elementor hosting for WordPress. It already comes with the Elementor Pro page builder, which gives you even more design capabilities on each site part, like the header and footer and the hello theme, which is the perfect foundation theme to build upon pre-installed. SEO and traffic. Next, you need to add content to your website. The best practice is to search for popular topics related to your website or use keyword research tools. Adding content quickly and as much as possible helps search engines index your website for search results. Ensure your website content is relevant and SEO friendly. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. Using plugins from the WordPress repository like Yoast SEO or Rank Math will help make your content more appealing for search engines. Elementor integrates with popular WordPress plugins, so we're good. Plugins and features. But what is a plugin? In short, a WordPress plugin extends the functionality of a WordPress website and adds new features. There are a ton of WordPress plugins out there, such as plugins for backups, security, performance, forms, and pop-ups, just to name a few. Using Elementor hosting for WordPress, together with the Elementor Pro plugin, covers all these other plugins and more. Having fewer plugins means less time and headache wasted on updating plugins and worrying about plugin compatibility. Alright, now we know what we're doing and where we're heading, let's start building our WordPress website. To get started, I'm going to sign up for an Elementor hosting account. Doing so will provide me with everything that I need to create my first WordPress website. Not only am I provided with fast, secure web hosting, which includes an SSL certificate for security, daily backups, and VIP support, but it also automatically installs WordPress and Elementor for me. I'll first visit the Elementor website by entering elementor.com in the address bar of my browser. Next, let's select Get Started. We'll be taken to a screen where we'll be presented with the option to choose a site plan. Here, I'll need to enter a few basic details like my email address, password, billing information, and payment information. So, after going through the purchase process, we can start creating our website. We will call it Reborn. And as you can see, our domain is reborn2023.elementor.cloud. This is a temporary domain name provided by Elementor Hosting until we connect our own domain later. Though don't worry about that just yet, I'll show you how it's done later on. Okay, let's start searching for a kit here. I love the kit library because you can find a lot of beautiful and elegant designs, as well as very functional kits for almost any kind of website. Today we'll build a website for a social media consultant. Our company needs a homepage, an about page, contact page, as well as a gallery to showcase its successful projects. Before designing or looking for inspiration for your website, you should know which pages you'll need. Let's take a look at the demo of this wedding kit. The design is super elegant. It's for a wedding photographer. There's a home page, a gallery page, and an about page. That's almost exactly what we need. Let's take a look at their portfolio. Clearly, there are lots of pictures of their clients. You can see what it looks like on mobile too. I'll start applying this kit. I'm going to apply everything. Okay, our kit is installed on our website. Let's see it live. You can see that it came across with all the assets and all the copy. Like I said earlier, I love to be inspired by these kinds of works so that I know what direction to take. You don't have to worry if the color isn't your brand style. We'll come back to that later and I'll show you a trick on how to fully customize your kit to match your own brand language by only changing a few settings. But first, it's important to go back to the WordPress dashboard and learn about some of the basics of WordPress. This is the screen you'll see when you log into your WordPress dashboard. Here you can see the latest updates from WordPress and Elementor and all the other plugins you will be using. Here's a quick link to Elementor customer support if you have any questions for the WordPress Elementor experts. We've got the top bar here. It has the website name, and clicking on it while holding Command or Control opens it in a new tab. But we will return to our dashboard. Here you can see the comment section. Add new, which can be a post, page, media, etc. Site lock mode. And here's a howdy for my user, which only I can see when I'm logged in. By the way, you'll see extra controls on the top bar if you're on a different page than the dashboard, as you can see here. You have Customize, Edit Page, and Edit with Elementor. Let's continue with some basics. Here's the tab where you can see all your posts or add new ones. Clicking here will take you to your media library to add new media, pages, comments, all the Elementor settings, templates, saved templates, and the theme builder. So you have appearance, themes, plugins, users, tools, and settings. And if you add more plugins, their controls will show up on the left here. Okay, let's start with pages. As you can see, all of our pages that came with the kit are listed here. If you hover over the title of a page, you will see the link to edit with Elementor and a drop-down with more options such as Preview, Duplicate Page, Rename Page, Page Settings, Set as Homepage, Edit with WordPress, and Trash to delete the page. To add a new page, just click Add New here on the top of the page. You can add a title. Let's name it as Demo Page. Click Save. And now we landed on a blank page with a canvas that we can build on. But first, let's talk about WordPress and the difference between pages and posts. I'll first exit the editor by clicking this icon and selecting Exit. Alright, cool. Consider pages as your static content that rarely needs to be changed. This might be, for instance, your About page or Services page, and is regarded as a permanent item. Posts, on the other hand, are articles that are regularly added to your blog. This type of content helps drive traffic to your website via search and social media. Let's click to add a new post. We see we can add a title. We can add a featured image as well. The title and the featured image will be displayed on your archive pages, as well as on your single post pages too. You can assign them to certain categories, create tags, and write an excerpt. And then when you're done, you can click to publish. You can populate your content by using the WordPress block editor, which has been around since version 5. Using a paragraph, a heading, an image, a gallery, etc. Or you can start editing with Elementor. It's completely up to you. Let's return to our pages and start editing the demo page we created earlier. Click Edit with Elementor. I want to show you a few basics about Elementor. As a beginner, it's beneficial to first gain some experience building and editing with Elementor. This will help you better understand the techniques and processes used to create these stunning designs. First of all, everything sits in a container. So, I'll add a container by either dragging or dropping here from the widget panel, and you can delete it by clicking the delete icon on the handle, or by clicking the plus icon and selecting a structure. This indicates that this is a single container and the column direction. This means whatever widgets we are planning to place inside, no matter how many of them, they will be positioned vertically. Whereas if I choose this one, the direction is row, and the items will be placed next to each other horizontally. This one will give you 2 columns equally divided, and you get the idea. So I'll start with this one. Content width boxed means that no matter what width of any of the items you place inside the container, it will always take up the size you specify here. So here it is, 1700. It means the container width will always have a width of 1700 pixels regardless of your desktop screen size. If you change it to full width by using the drop-down selector, as you can see, it automatically sets it to 100% of the viewport width, meaning your content in this container will take up 100% of the screen's width. So even if you reduce it to 80%, for example, it will always fill that 80% of the width, depending on your screen size. I will set it to a full width, 100% for now, and here's the minimum height setting. So, what is it exactly? It's the minimum height that your container will occupy on the page when it has items inside. You can set it using the slider, or give it a specific numeric value using this box. And you can change the measurement unit if you want to, using this drop-down selector next to the unit indication above the box. Let's play with this a little and explore the Style tab. Here you can choose the background type from Classic, Gradient, Video, or Slideshow. You can simply add a color or change the background by setting a color using the color picker through here. Or you can also add an image. You can see that by default the image is repeating itself to fill the container. I'll set this image to no repeat. Well, as you can see, the random image we picked is actually smaller than the container, so it actually sits in the top left of the container. If we want, we can change the position by selecting a position from here. I'll set it to center, for instance. And also, if we want this image to cover all the space in the container, we will choose the display size and set it to cover. I'll delete that and I'll start populating it with widgets. So let's start with the most basic widget, which is the heading widget. You can see that the default heading text comes with specific color and font settings. This is coming from the preset global settings of this kit, and I'll show you soon how you can change that. You might have noticed that with this container as well, that each widget comes with 3 tabs. The first one is the Content tab, where we can change the widget content. In this heading widget, it's the text content, but in the other widgets, it might be an image, video, icon, or even both. So let's take a look at it together. This is our first headline. If you want to link this heading to a specific URL, you can type the URL here. You can also change the HTML tag. HTML tags are important for the hierarchy of your content on the page. You can also change the alignment, as you can see here. In the Style tab, you can change the color. You can choose one of the global colors that were set earlier using the global globe icon. Or you can set a completely different color using this color wheel. I will change it back to black. This also works for the typography settings too. You can choose one of the typography settings we set earlier in the global styles, again using the globe icon, or you can change it to a completely different font family by choosing one from the rich Google Fonts library built in. You can change the size, adjust the weight, give a line height. By the way, keep in mind that when the globe icon is colored, it means that one of the global settings is active. And then finally, we have the Advanced tab. Let's quickly go over the options. Here you may control the spacing around the widgets. Margin controls the space outside of the widget, and padding controls the space inside the widget container. The widget container's boundary, or border, is defined by this thin line around it. But to demonstrate it better for you, I'm going to add a border around that by expanding this tab and setting a border type to solid. The width is going to be set to 2, and I'll set it to the primary color just to show you. If I go back to the Layout tab, you can see that if I increase the margin, it pushes the widget from both sides. But if I increase the padding, it adds space around the content. Let's undo this. If I click on the container, by going over the container and selecting the handle of the container, and remember that a container is also a widget, which means you have a similar control approach. So if, for example, I add 50 pixels of padding, you can see that this heading widget is pushed 50 pixels from the sides. And if I want to only change the top padding to 150, I can unlink the values here and type the exact value that I want to in the relevant area. In this case, padding top. Let's move on and drag in a text editor widget. Here you have more or less the same controls as the heading widget. This is designed for longer body text. I'll just copy and paste this text multiple times to have a longer text to work with visually. That seems to be enough for now. You can display it in multiple columns or even 3. Maybe you noticed earlier, certain controls have this small desktop icon. This means that you can change the settings according to the display size. You can display 2 columns on your tablet, and for your mobile, you can choose to display only 1. And on styling, you have similar options as the heading widget. Let's try the button widget. We'll drag it in, and as you can see, the button widget came with pre-made settings in this kit. Let's change our button text to discover more, for example. Notice that the longer our text is, the bigger our button gets. Here we can add the URL, and if you want to add a link to a page within the website, just type the title of the page. You can see that as I type, the relevant options appear down here. Or you can simply paste an external link. We can change the alignment of the button here, change the size, medium, large, or extra large. You can add an icon using the rich icon library, or you can upload your own. You can then choose the icon position. It can be displayed before or after the text. And then you can control the spacing between the icon and text. On the Style tab, you will see that you have more options than the previous widgets that I showed earlier. You have more detailed styling options for the normal and hover states of the button, and even the ability to add a hover animation. And one last thing, let's click to get back to the container. I will remove the paddings we gave earlier just to show it more clearly. We can justify everything vertically just to the center by clicking here, or we might want to justify it to the end. Space between will push the first and last content to the edges of the container. Space around will distribute the remaining white space equally in a way to set equal space to top and bottom of all sides. And space evenly will add spacing around on elements in a way that white spaces between each item on top of the first item and the bottom of the last item would be equal. We can also align items horizontally to start, center, end, or stretch. For now, we will justify content center and align items to the start. You can also set the gap between the elements in the container, like so, or entering an exact value here. Last but not least, if you decide to display your elements horizontally rather than vertically, you can always go back and change it. And the wrap option helps us to organize it easily. There are more complex widgets, but the logic of using them is the same. We'll see them while we work with the kit we use. Now, let's head back to Pages, and as I promised you, we'll see how to make this kit our own. And from Pages, I will go to the Global Styles page. So this is another beautiful thing that I love about kits. Each kit comes with a Global Style page. The Global Styles page gives us all the colors and typography settings. So you will see that this is used throughout the kit that we are using, and this is customizable. These are displayed here, as defined in our site settings. As you change it, you'll see how this affects all the places this setting is used. You can copy and paste the style. It's a very functional page, but first, let's change the colors. So we'll take this website from a neutral tone to a more vibrant one, with the colors and typography settings soon. Let's go to Site Settings. Click on Global Colors, and as you can see, these names match the names that appear here. And the colors match as well. So if you would like to change the background color 1, for example, to pink, you'll see that it will be reflected here. Perfect, right? So, I'll use another color for this secondary background color. Let's do that. No matter what you create, black, white, and transparent will always be useful, so I highly recommend keeping them. I will go ahead and change all the colors that are listed here like so. Setting primary, secondary, and body text colors here will help you later when adding text and choosing its color. So I'll update this and move on to the global fonts. Although these fonts used in the kit look elegant, we want to add a little playfulness. I'm going to choose a font family that is a bit more playful. I chose Bangers for that. Let's make it 60 pixels, line height 65 pixels. I'll set the letter spacing to 4. Okay, you can see it changed here. Perfect. Next, I'll set the secondary headline. I want to use another elegant font family. Playfair Display. I'll leave the size as is at 1.5 viewport width, and I'll set the width to a medium because I want it to be a little bit bolder. Next, I'll reduce the spacing a little to 4. You can see that they got closer to each other. Let's now change the body text to Playfair Display as well. Next, we have custom fonts. We have a hero headline, which is used on the homepage in the hero section. As you can see, this is Italiana font, but I'll change it to Bangers. Let's also increase its size to 230 pixels. I'll keep the letter spacing as it is. Since the font is bigger, it can accommodate a wider space between the letters. I'll change the rest of the typography settings using these two font families, Bangers and Playfair Display. I'm going to save the changes by clicking Update. Okay, are you ready to see what the homepage looks like now? So, click to return to the editor. Back to the WordPress dashboard. Now click the Visit Our Page link to view the front end of the website. Wow! As you can see, all the fonts and colors have changed already. Amazing! Now we can see there are some parts that are not styled using the global settings, and that's why this one is still grey. But as you can see, everything else has changed. So what's left for us is changing our content. So I'll click Edit with Elementor to start editing our homepage. As mentioned earlier, the kits in the kit library are designed and built by professional web designers and web developers. Sometimes they can use widgets unconventionally. As an example, here, instead of using the heading widget, our title is actually written in the icon box widget. Developers might do that because they have more control over the styling and spacing, so I can totally understand that. And don't worry about it, You will learn these workarounds pretty soon as we progress. Another tool I love to use while building a website is the navigator. It's really useful for finding elements on the page. Let's start editing. I'll start with the text in this heading widget. Our social media consultant is based in London. Here in this icon box widget, I'll add the name of our studio, Reborn. And the studio's main business is personal branding. Let's change the photography as well. Clicking on the image opens its settings. Next, I'll click to change image, and this will direct me to the media library. Here I can upload my own files. What I like to do is upload all my files at once. Okay, let's go with this one. I'm happy with the alignment. The designer did a great job with this kit. So all I have to do here is change the images. That's it. You know what? Maybe I'll make this image a little bigger. What if I try 100? Let's try 70%. I think it's perfect. Moving on, this is a bio section of our business. So let's edit this heading widget to display her name, Zoe Nisha Jones. She's a London-based social media consultant. I'll add some About Me text here. Here you can see the color is grey, meaning that it's not coming from our global settings. Let's find out where this is coming from. As you can see, box shadow is activated. How did I see that? Because the pencil icon here is colored, meaning it's activated. The box shadow effect doesn't have a global styles option, so I'll just paste the hex code here instead. Let's use purple. There, done. Here instead of weddings, we'll display our most successful clients. Let's see. I want to add a small tagline here. Instead of recent weddings, I'd like to call it, It's all about finding the real you. And you know what? I want to break this into 2 lines of text. We will do it by changing the width of the widget here. The default is set to full width, so I will select Custom and set it to a smaller width using this slider. But I want it centered. So I'll click to align self to center. Now, it's just how I wanted it. In this section, we see an image of a couple, their initials and wedding dates. Let's tweak it and make it our own. But first, do you see the cool on-hover effect? This is a Flipbox widget. The Flipbox widget lets you add content to the front and back. So here there is no title and description, and we can see that the image is embedded in the background. I'll remove it and add an image of the client, like so. And this text is coming from the back. Let's change it. Client's name is Sophie Norberg, and she's a backpacker with lots of followers. Finally, if I want to change the background color to orange, for example, I can do so here. Now I want to separate the traveler and the followers into separate lines. So I'll click the Style tab, and under Back, I'll increase the padding values from the sides. I'll change it to percentage. 26%. Okay. You can see now the number of followers is on the second line. Now we've already made this one our own, the best way to edit the other 2 is to delete them. Yes, do it. Don't worry. You'll see that one has taken the whole space. Now, let's right-click, duplicate. Now we have one with our style already here, and all we have to do is change the content. Moving on to our last section, the kind words, I'll keep it as it is and only change the names and the text, like so. This is the testimonial widget where we can write the actual testimonial text, the name, and choose an image. We can change the image position to on top of the name or beside it, change the alignment, or remove the images entirely. The next section, well, we don't need it, so I'll delete it. We're working with individuals and we're already featuring them here. Next, the Get in Touch. Let's change it from Roberta to Zoe. Also, let's change her image here to that one. So, now that we've built our homepage and learned about the basics of building with Elementor, we can now move on to editing our header and footer. I can go ahead and edit the page by clicking directly here, or I can go to the setting and click the theme builder. It's faster to click on the header, but let's go the long way so I can show you the theme builder. I've got the theme builder here, and you can see all the site parts that came with the kit that we installed. We already have a 404 page, header, and footer. So let's start with the header template first. Let's edit our header by clicking Edit here. I'd like to add a border that will fit our branding. So let me choose Border Type Solid with 1 pixel width and color. I'll choose the color from our global colors. Black, our primary color. Cool. Next, let's first begin with the site identity. Because we haven't uploaded our own logo yet, we see this default one. We can change the site logo using this button, and it will take us to site identity. Another way to get to site identity is to click here in the hamburger menu and then go to Site Settings. And under Site Settings, you'll see Site Identity. You can change your site logo by choosing an image from the image library or by uploading your own. We don't have a logo, but the kit we're using comes with some. As a demonstration, I'll use that one. And you can also choose a favicon to appear on the browser tab handle. And when I click Update and return to the editor, you can see that our logo is showing up here. You can change the width. Okay, let's remove this. Another way is using our site title instead of a logo. Let's drag it in. As you can see, the site title already matches our branding, just like we set it earlier. You can, of course, change the size to smaller. Reduce the spacing. Now, under Content, the link is set to the site URL. Okay, next we have our menu that displays the links on our website. Right now, the primary menu is selected. To edit this menu, click here. Now you can see all the pages that are currently under the primary menu. Or you can click here to create a new menu. Give it a name and click Create Menu. Next, I'll choose which pages to include in my menu. I'll switch to All Pages and let's choose the Home page, Contact, Gallery, and Kind Words. You can arrange the items simply by dragging and dropping them. I want the Contact page to be at the bottom. You can also create submenus by dragging them slightly to the right, like so. I'll move it back for now. Just to quickly review all the options here. If you have posts, you will see them here. You can also do the same for your categories. You can also create a custom link in your menu. For an external link, for example, just type the URL and add text. As you can see, the item external is added to the menu. You can just expand it by clicking the down arrow and clicking Remove, and then the item will be removed. So once you have your menu, click here to save it. And again, if you want to edit an existing menu, select it from the drop-down and click Select to edit it. By the way, you can also reach the menus from the WordPress dashboard under Appearance, then Menus. If you recall, we got to the menu via the Elementor editor. So let's head back to editing our header with the primary menu selected. Let's return to editing our contact details. Let's start with our number and email address. And the location. Cool. Okay, let's talk about dynamic links. Can you see this wrench icon? And it says Contact URL. Let me delete it. Now, imagine you want to create a clickable link that when clicked or tapped on a mobile device, dials a phone number. To do that, first, click on the barrel logo. This opens up dynamic tags. Here, navigate to the Actions category and look for Contact URL. Next, click the wrench icon, and from the drop-down, choose Tell and type in or paste the telephone number. If you expect calls from international contacts, you must also add the country code. Moving on to email, you can do the same, but this time under Type, instead of Tell, choose Email. Once the user clicks the link, it will open their email provider and create a new email with your address pre-populated in the To field. And finally, the same goes for your address. If you want your visitors to find you by clicking this link, you can select Ways and then paste your address here. And your visitor app will automatically open and direct them to this address. That's it. And lastly, the social icons. I'll click to edit them. You can add more social icons if you like. Let's try TikTok, for example. Okay. You can change the colors and the size through the Style tab. But I'll keep it as is. Once you have set your icons, you can paste the links to your social media accounts here. So when the visitor clicks the link, they'll be redirected to your social media pages. And that's the header. We have a few more pages to edit to complete our website, but in order to keep this video just about 30 minutes, I've decided to stop here. You can apply everything we've learned so far and continue editing your website on your own. I'm sure that you'll find the answers to any questions that might rise in what we've done so far. So be confident you can do it. If you'd like to continue building your website with me for about an hour more, then click the link appearing now and let's continue the journey together. I'll be waiting for you and we'll complete all the pages left to build and finish the website together. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and click the bell so you can receive a notification when I upload my next video soon. You don't want to miss it.